Radhe Radhe. So it took me around 2 years to transition myself from solving just one problem on Leetcode Contest to solving all the four problems on Leetcode Contest. But you can do it within 6 months if you follow the steps that I'm going to tell you in this video. So considering that you are an engineer, so this solving all the four Leetcode problems are going to help you in getting two main things that an engineer needs. Number one, the job, and number two, impressing your crush. So without any jokes, without any further ado, let's get in the video. So before starting the video, I'll tell you that you need a piece of paper or a notepad in your hand and a pen so that you can take up the notes that I'm going to give in my video. And I always prefer that my viewers should pay very much good attention to the video so that, like, I think taking up notes is very important. So without any further ado, let's get in the screen. So I hope, yeah, so the screen is visible very much. So whenever you're talking about like solving all the four questions on lead code, the first question that may come to your mind that why should I even start lead code or why should I even attempt those lead code contests? So I have already told you in some of my previous videos that whenever you are going to solve whenever you're going to appear for an interview of any company, so basically every company screens you. Okay, they screen you on the basis of the aptitude round or on the basis of their CGPA, of your CGPA. Okay, so after that, the round that comes, that is the coding round, before the technical round and the HR round. So the coding round is very important, and in the coding round, I don't know how many of you know. Okay, so basically in the coding round, I'm sorry. So in the coding round, so you have to code three problems. Okay, you have to code three problems. That is three, or like somewhere some companies may have even more problems. So basically, you have to code a few problems, and you're given a stipulated amount of time. Okay, so you're given a specific amount of time. Let's say you're given 1 hour. Okay, you're given 1 hour, and you have to code the whole thing. So based on your performance, that is how much codes you're getting accepted, you are selected for the next round. That's the technical round. Now, if you look at the thing of lead code contest, the pattern of lead code contest, they also give you four problems. Okay, lead code problems. So let me like write this. So what a lead code problem does, lead code contest does is, okay, lead code contests. So basically, in a lead code contest, you're given four problems, and you're given one 1.5 hour. Okay, 1.5 hour, and within this 1.5 hour, you can like solve as much as problems that you can solve. Okay, so basically, you can see one thing that the lead code and coding rounds of every company, they are having a similar kind of pattern. So basically, lead code is kind of a practice session for you. Okay, so it's kind of a practice session where you can practice of how a coding round is held in a company, and thus get it. So now we are going to get into the main part of the video, that is how to transition yourself from solving just one problem, one out of four problems, to solving all the four problems. Okay, so the mo- there I'm going to discuss the main 3 points. Okay, number one point, that is a secret actually, because I think most of the YouTubers, like, you have come across the various YouTube videos where they explain like how you have to do all the codes on lead code and how you have to do attempt every contest. But there's a very underrated point, so that is going to be our first point. That is the environment. Okay, the environment. Now, if you look very minutely at the background of mine, that is, I have dimmed all the lights. Okay, I have dimmed all the lights, and there's one ring light that is in front of my face, that is this one. And there's a camera, but whenever I'm coding, I don't use this kind of setup. I usually use that I have just one light, and all lights are dimmed, and I prefer that the place that I'm sitting to code should be very silent. At this moment, I don't know whether you can like hear the sound of the rain or not. So basically, it's raining outside, and like a light drizzle, and I think the room that I'm sitting at right now is very much silent enough, quiet enough for coding. Now, the most important thing, like if you're in your house, or if you're in your hostel, so what you basically see is that, let's say you're coding, okay, so you're coding in your room, okay, so you're coding in your room, and you're minutely coding, okay, you have a laptop in front of you, you're coding, and suddenly someone knocks at your door, okay, a person comes to your door and he knocks. Let's say if you're in a hostel, so your friend comes and he knocks you, okay, so and he's like, hey bro, what's up, like I and in most of the engineering college you will find that your roommates come and they say like, uh, okay, ये पढ़ाई कर रहा है, बहुत ज़्यादा पढ़ाई कर रहा है भाई, टॉपर बन जाएगा, something like this, okay, they taunt you like that, okay. Or let's say if you're at your home and a relative or a guest comes to your house and they're like, hi, how are you doing, and something like that, how are you, what are you doing, what are you studying right now, how much result, what was your result in your board, something like that. The relatives are like that, okay. So whenever they come to your house, so basically what happens is, whenever you're sitting on a code and someone distracts you, so your mind, your concentration gets out of that code, okay, and you like start talking with that person. So this shouldn't happen. So I'll prefer that whenever you're starting to code, whenever you're coding, so you should tell your parents, or you should tell your friends that, bro, I'm at this moment I'm going to code, so it's better that if you don't disturb me, so like give me just a few minutes, I'll just code, give me kind of an hour, I'll code, and after that we are going to get to the playground and play, we are going to play PUBG or whatever it is, BGMI, okay, or maybe we are going to get like we are going to give some we're going to spend some quality time, like, whatever it is, okay. But whenever you're coding, you should focus you should, your whole focus should be in your code, okay. So whenever you're coding, your whole focus, it should be in your code, nothing other than this. There will be distractions over there, over here, but over here, that is your code, your focus should be over there. Your focus should be completely on your computer screen, and sometimes you may take a piece of notepad, you may take a piece of paper, or you may take a notepad and just concentrate on that, okay. Now, in environment, I've told you that you need a quiet background, you have to completely eradicate all the distractions from your room wherever you're coding. Now you should keep like, you know what, like most of the coding platforms, there is a thing called, they tell you that GFG, I've seen this in GFG, they tell you that you should hydrate yourself regularly. Even code forces, I think they had this kind of thing, they say that you should hydrate yourself, so you should basically hydrate yourself, like drinking water, hydrate yourself at regular intervals, and that is necessary, because that gives your body the replenishment that it needs for like sitting on a place for a long time, okay. And don't stress your mind much whenever you're coding, don't stress your mind much. Like, try a problem, if you can't do it, it is not a big matter if you can't solve a code, because there is no one in this whole world who can solve all the codes, okay. So that's completely okay. Now, if you talk about me at a beginning stage of my life, I used to prefer listening to music while I was coding. Okay, but since at this moment I am into a lot of contests like Code Forces. Okay, Code Forces I gave, then I gave Code Chef, and there are various contests. So I don't get the amount of practice to like. I don't get accustomed to the practice that I need. So basically, my practice is contests. Okay. So while I'm giving contests, I'll recommend you that you shouldn't listen to music, because that distracts you. So you have to sit down and just look into the whole contest problems, understand them. But if you're just practicing, so you can listen to music so that it freshens you up. And that's it for the environment part. So let's get to the next point. Next point, that is how you're going to practice it. Okay, how you're going to practice coding on lead code. Now, if you're talking about practice sessions, so as I've told you that you have to practice in a very quiet environment. But how often do you need to practice? So some people say that I practice every day, I solve 5 problems a day. Some people say I solve one problem a day. Some people say I don't solve much problem because I feel like I can solve the problems very easily, so I don't solve it much. So as a beginner, I won't force you that you have to solve all the like you have to solve 5 problems or 10 problems, something like that. As a beginner, not only as a beginner, as whatever position you are. So solving one problem a day is going to be much more than enough for you. Okay, because you're going to start. You're going to just start your learning. Okay, so basically I have this thing like I call this the 45 minutes rule. Okay, the 45 minutes rule. So for every problem, or more like, let's say, whenever you're practicing, okay, so whenever you're practicing, you should give yourself 45 minutes per day, and you have to solve just one problem. Now this 45 minutes can get somewhere around 1 hour also. It doesn't matter much, but try to keep it within 45 minutes. So how you're going to divide this 45 minutes? So there are various divisions. Okay, so first comes the first 10 minutes, or let's say first 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, the first 10 to 15 minutes. So in this first 10 to 15 minutes, you have to just look into the problem, understand the problem, and try to code it by yourself. And in this first 10 to 15 minutes, you're not going to see anything. Okay, you're not going to see any editorial, you're not going to see any other videos or how people are solving it. You're not going to see anything. But in this first 15 minutes, you're just going to sit down and just try to code it by yourself. Okay, if you can't code it, doesn't matter, but just sit down. So you have to learn to sit on a problem. So this is just sit on this problem. So after that, you have the next 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, the next 5 to 10 minutes. So within this 5 to 10 minutes, you're going to look into the editorials. Okay, and or not say let's not say editorials, because Leetcode has got that thing called hints. Okay, so whenever you're going to face a question, so you can just look at the hints. Okay, like if you look into a Leetcode thing. Okay, so let me show you. So there's this problem for two sum. Okay, so you can see that whenever I'm going to the description of the problem, so there is a problem over here, and if you get in the lowest part of the problem, you can check out that there are hints. Okay, there's this hint and there's this hint. So you're going to check out the hints, and in this next 5 to 10 minutes, you're going to check the hint and try to code it. Okay, just check the hint and try to code it. Now let's say even after doing these, okay, even after doing these, you can't solve the problem. Now what you should do? Now you should look for the solution. That is, go to the discuss section and check someone else's solution. Okay, so this should take you 10 minutes, proper 10 minutes. Look at the solution and just try to code. Now this 10 minutes is optional, because it may happen that you're looking at a solution and you don't get it. Okay, so what you can do is, at this stage, just look into the solution, try to understand the problem, just sit down and just put down, like, just close your eyes and just think that what if I can do this, I can do it like this, I can do it like this. And apart from this, just checking out the solutions, or just checking out the discussion, you can also check out, there are a few tags. Okay, like let me get into this, the same problem, the two sum problem. So if you see the discuss section, okay, no, the lead code discuss, I went to the lead code discuss by mistake. Okay, so if you go to the discuss section, so you can see that there are various tags over here, right? There are various tags over here. Let's say Python. So basically, these are the languages where the discuss people, the people over here, they have solved it, but you don't need to consider them. But you can see one thing, that there are some data structures mentioned over here. That is, there is one data structure, that is array, mentioned over here, hash map mentioned over here, hash table mentioned over here. Okay, so you can get a basic idea that you have to use an array, hash map, and hash table, or hash table. Okay, so if you know all these data structures, so you can basically draw a conclusion that these are the necessary data structures that are needed to solve this problem. Now I feel that whenever you're solving a problem, if you know that you have to use these data structures, so that becomes very easy for you to solve. So now, as I told you, in this next 10 minutes, you're going to go for that thing. Okay, so now as you're done, now let's say if you have understood the problem, that's good, that's very good. But and you have solved the problem, that's very good. But let's say you haven't solved the problem. So now comes the next 20 minutes. Okay, this is the most important. Okay, so next 20 minutes. So in the next 20 minutes, so you have to understand one thing, that is you have to go to a video solution. Okay, now Leetcode also has this thing, but I think it is premium for some of the questions. So you can't find a video solution for every problem, but you can see that there is a video solution for this problem, right? So this is around 12 minutes. Okay, this is around 12 minutes. Now this thing, it can be around 12 minutes, it can be around half an hour also. Some of the problems are half an hour. Okay, there can be also 30 minutes. So basically when you're done with this, so you have to look at the solution. Now let's say you have solved the problems in this first 3 steps only, or maybe in first step only, or maybe in 2 steps only. This step is necessary, you have to go for it. Okay, because even today whenever I'm solving a problem, let's say I've solved it, but still I look at the solution, I look at the video solutions of other people, because there is always some better approaches, there are always some different approaches. Okay, so you have to understand one thing, that you have to know all the approaches as possible, so that at a later part it may happen that the approach that you have implemented in your code may not give you the optimal answer in future. Okay, so you have to check for all the optimal answers by checking at the video solution. So you can go to YouTube also, you can check the people, some people like upload videos, even I upload videos after contest about like how to solve the problems. So I, as far as I remember, I solved like the last contest I uploaded 4 problems, and there were, it took me around 45 minutes. So basically you, in 45 minutes you are getting 4 problems, so obviously you can get within 20 minutes you can get 1 problem easily. Okay, and I'm just assuming that after these all 3 4 steps you have solved the whole problem. Okay, now this is just one day. Okay, I told you already that one day 1 problem is more than enough. Now you have solved the whole problem. Now you have to go for the reward system, which is very important. Okay, because we say that let me just delete this. Okay, this is the whole thing. So I came across a video where they say that your productivity is like this, the graph is like this. Okay, so every time you are studying or you're sitting on a problem, your productivity increases, but after one point it decreases. And then if you take some rest, then again it will increase. Okay, so you should take rest at frequent manners. Okay, now at frequent patterns, I meant at frequent patterns you should take your rest. Okay, at specific patterns. So as I told you, you can practice 45 minutes of coding on 45 minutes, invest 45 minutes on one problem, and they then take 15 minutes of rest. So basically in 1 hour is more than enough for giving per day to a lead code problem, or to lead code in general. Okay, so 1 hour is more than enough. Now let's say you have that 15 minutes break. So during that break you can do one thing, that is you can reward yourself. So some people they like beers. Okay, beer, they, like I heard this thing. So there's this professor, whenever he was studying and he stopped and he ended his study within 30 minutes, he would go to the bar and grab a beer and drink it, and like that was the reward system. Now some people, they have different kind of reward system, every person has different kind of reward system. So you may even like eating foods, trying food, so you can order a pizza or something like that. Or maybe some people are addicted to the mobile phone, addicted to social media. So I'm not telling that you have to like get rid of the addiction as soon as possible. You can, obviously addiction is not good, but if that is a kind of a reward system, so just keep your phone apart from you while you're coding, and just the moment, just after 45 minutes you're going to take up your phone, and for the next 15 minutes you're going to look into the phone, and you're going to reward yourself. So whatever you think is the biggest reward for you, for every code that you perform, you're going to reward yourself. But this thing doesn't work when you're giving contests, okay, as I have told you. So this thing doesn't work when you're giving contests, because when you're sitting for a contest, so you won't get the time of the 15 minutes rest. Okay, because a contest is basically 1 hour 30 minutes. So if you're going to give yourself that rest of 15 minutes, so during one contest you're already getting a break of 15 minutes. Now I'm not telling you that you can't take this rest, you can't take this at all. You can, because at the beginning stage your mind gets completely saturated, and like new ideas or new logics may not come out of your mind. So in that case you can go for it, but I feel like you should completely focus on like whatever the code you're doing during a contest at least. Okay. So throughout the weekdays, you're going to practice thoroughly. You're going to go throughout every problems as much as possible. Okay. So you have like let's say they have Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So 5 days, and you have practiced 5 problems. So you know a basic of the thing. Okay. Now you're going to attempt the contest. So every lead code contest, there is a bi-weekly contest which occurs on alternative Saturdays, I meant, and there's a weekly contest which occurs every Sunday. So you have to attempt both of them. So you can do one thing, that is every Saturday before 8, that is around 7:45, you can keep an alarm, and on Sunday mornings you can keep an alarm around 7:45 also. Okay, 7:45 a.m. and 7:45 p.m. for bi-weekly contest Saturdays. So you just need to sit in that contest. So I have heard this thing, like whenever you're going for a bodybuilding profession, you have seen that bodybuilders, so what they do is they have a kind of specific discipline in themselves. Now I heard a bodybuilder speaking that it doesn't matter how much discipline you are inside the gym, the discipline should be so much that once you get into the gym, you have to automatically do the exercises. Okay. Now, what is the most important thing? What is the most difficult thing? The most difficult thing is to get into the gym. So the same thing goes for lead code contest also. So the most difficult thing is to just register for the contest. The remaining things, that is just solving the problems, it's up to you. It doesn't matter whether you are solving all the 4 problems or not. All the even sometimes may happen that you can't solve any one of the problems, so it doesn't matter much. But just sitting for the contest is what is important. Okay. So I am done with this everyday thing, and this 45 minutes thing, also the reward system. So I hope these 3 points are very much clear, that you have to code every day, you have to code for 45 minutes for every problem, not more than 45 minutes you can invest on a problem, and you have to reward yourself. Okay, this reward system is very important, because if you stop rewarding yourself, so your mind will be like, your mind works on a reward system. Okay, so whenever you do something you expect a reward. Okay, so if you are coding, so you should also expect a reward after that. So that's it, that's for the practice part. Now comes the final part, that is the planning part. Okay. Now, if you have sat for any competitive exams, I'm just assuming that you're from engineering background, so you have sat for the JE exams, right? So before sitting for the JE exams, your teachers tells you that you have to attempt the questions in a specific pattern. Okay, so let's go to the planning section. Your teacher tells you that you have to attend the question of specific patterns. Like, let's say if you find chemistry very easy, so they see that you can just choose the chemistry part first, and then the physics part, and then the maths part. Okay, then the maths part. My handwriting sucks. Oh, fuck. And then the maths part, right? Now, this is a kind of strategy that a person tells you, because they are very much experienced and they have already coached various people who have passed the J exams. Okay, J exams. So, if you talk about the competitive coding nature or the competitive programming nature in lead code, so this also follows a similar kind of thing. Okay, so you have to plan well beforehand. That is how you have to attempt all the questions. So, similarly, for lead code, there are 4 problems: A, B, C, D. Now, usually, the first problem is always easy. Okay, this first problem is either easy, or sometimes very few, like in very few examples, they are medium. B, B is always medium. Okay, B is always medium. C, again, on the other hand, it can be medium or hard. Okay, medium or hard. And D is mostly hard and sometimes medium. Okay, so this is how like you can tell about the pattern of the 4 questions. Now, one by one, I'm going to explain you like what do you need to solve all the 4 problems. So before getting into that, let me give you a basic example about time complexity. Okay. So you know that time complexity is a very important factor in solving every problem in competitive nature. So depending on the value of n, we have to find what is the time complexity that we can go for. Okay, right? Now let's say if the value of n is somewhat less than equal to 8. Okay, so we can go for big O of n factorial. Okay, we can go for big O of n factorial. Now, why is it so? Because if you see big O of n factorial, so remember one thing: whenever you're going to check for the big O, so you have to check that whether that specific expression for the largest limit is before 10 to the power 8 or not. Okay, because if it aims so you have to like even if it is not big O n to the power 10 to the power 8, so it can be also somewhere like 10 to the power 9, that is the maximum limit, but you have to keep it well before 10 to the power 8. Okay, now let's say you are having this n thing. Okay, this n, so this is what the constant is basically. So whenever you're given a problem, n is the constant that the problem has. Now let's say you have a value of n where it is somewhere 100. Okay, so like if you check it, that is 100, and 10 to the power 8 is the limit, or 10 to the power 6 is the limit. So if we cube that thing, so it's well before 10 to the power 6, right? I mean, it's 10 to the power 6 only. So n cubed is a big O n cubed for 100. For 1000, similarly, there are 3 zeros. So if we add more 3 zeros over there, so you can see one thing that it's going to be well before 10 to the power 6. 10 to the power 6, right? And or well before 10 to the power 7, you can say. So that is going to be big O n squared. Okay. Now, let's say you're going to go for big O 10 to the power 6. Okay. So for that case, you have to understand that it has to be well big O n. Okay. Because if it's not big O n, so if it's not big O n, so you can't have a bigger than that. You can have something lesser than that. Now let's say for big O, for 10 to the power somewhat 14, which is a very famous constant. Like various competitive programming problems appear where they have this type of constant. So in that case, you have to go for big O log n. Okay, because big O log n, whenever we say big O log n, it means log of base of 2. Okay, now the most famous constant that you will come across specifically on Leetcode, that is 10 to the power 5. Okay, so when you're having 10 to the power 5, so you can check one thing, that what is the value, so that it doesn't goes above 10 to the power 8 or 10 to the power 7. So it's well n log n. If you take n log n, it's well before that. Okay, so this is a valid thing. This is a valid thing for that. So I hope this is very much clear, like based on the constant thing, how you're going to approach every problem. And this 10 to the 14 thing, okay, this 10 to the 14 thing, that is 10 to big O log n, this doesn't come much on problem. I'm so sorry. So this doesn't come much on problems, but this is a very famous thing for competitive coders. And this 10 to the 5 thing, this is a very famous thing on Leetcode. Most of the problems that will come across Leetcode will have a similar kind of thing, like it will have this big O of 10 to the power 5 constant over there. So this 10 to the power of big O n log n, it will be there. Okay, now let's say you have come across a problem which is having 10 to the power 5. So you can also go for something which is below that. Okay, so if it's big O n log n, so you can go for big O log n also. You can also go for big O n, but you can't go for big O n squared or n cubed or n factorial. Okay, so you're getting it. I hope you're getting it, right? So that's it. Now let's get into the problems, that is A, B, and C, D, as I've told you. So if you're considering A, these are the 3 conditions that A will have in common. Okay, these are the 3 conditions. And sometimes even this 4th condition may happen in A, because I feel that A is a very easy problem and you have to use simply brute force. Okay, you have to simply use brute force for that problem, for these kind of problems. So basically, brute force means that big O n works completely perfectly for it, and even big O n squared or n cubed works perfectly. And if you're encountering big O n factorial, remember one thing: big O n factorial. I think I forgot to tell you. Big O n factorial means that this thing is going to have a recursive approach. Okay, so you have to use recursion in this. So that is for big O n factorial. Okay, I hope that is very much clear. So it will be better. Like, let me say that if anything is lesser than 100 also, you can use big O n factorial. Like, you can use, sorry, you can use big O n cube. Now you may come across like, why, what should we use for like A? What are the data structures that are needed for solving the problem A? Okay, so if you're solving A, I prefer that it is mostly easy. It doesn't require some medium kind of stuff. So what you can do is you can use simple mathematical approaches. Okay, simple maths. Ignore my handwriting. I know that's like kind of shit. So, anyways, so you can use maths. You can use arrays also, because obviously you need the logic of loops well beforehand. Because if you want to implement arrays, so you need loops also. So basically, you need maths, arrays, and loops. Nothing more than that. Okay, nothing more than that. So I think this much is more than enough if you are solving A. For this, it is more than enough. Sometimes you may need some greedy stuff or DP, it doesn't matter much. So this is more than enough for you if you're looking for attempting only A. Now, let's say you also want to solve B. Now there's some additional things that you need to know for solving B. So let's say it is very like binary search, something like this, binary search, or maps. Okay, maps. So basically these things, these are not much needed. I won't like confirm you that whenever you're solving a problem on B, it has to contain like stuff like stuff like binary search or map. It may be solved using all the constants that have been given in A. But one thing that I won't write it down right now, that is dynamic programming. Okay, but you will be needing dynamic programming, I can assure you that you're needing dynamic programming. So that's it for A and B. So let me delete this, and now let's go to C and D. Okay. Now people say that C is the maybe medium or hard, but I will consider that C is medium. Okay. Because I have seen most of the cases that C is very medium kind of difficulty and D is hard. Okay. So C comes under the medium category and D comes under the hard category. So I think it will be better if I can explain you using some previous contest. So I will switch the screen, but before that, let me give you a basic approach of what C and D contents of. So basically, if you're looking into C, you will come across this thing that you will be needing some dynamic programming. Sometimes you may be needing some binary search along with traversal, along with loops. Okay, so remember one thing: sometimes it may happen so that you are feeling that a problem is kind of difficult, but it is not difficult because it will be needing more than one algorithm simultaneously. Okay, so that is the trick of C. And for D, I will tell you that most of the coding, like most just solving C, solving a medium problem, is more than enough if you're attempting a question for a company. But sometimes, like whenever there's a tiebreaker, let's say a company needs 6 people in there, and you have and 6 people and 7 people have solved the medium problem. So in that case, you will be needing the hard thing. So this is very much clear. Now let's come to the C. So if we are talking about the medium problem, one of the important data structure that you will need is the segment tree. Okay, you will be needing the segment tree very much, and you may need the binary search at this point. But as I mentioned, that not only binary search. Okay, sometimes you would need a whole traversal using the loop along with the binary search. Okay, I hope this is very much clear now. So what happens is basically when you're using a binary search along with loops, so the loop is going to take up the big O n, and the binary search is going to take up the big O log n. So combining them, it becomes big O n log n. Right. I hope this is very much clear right now. So you will be needing some other data structures as well, but let us focus a little bit on the binary search plus loops concept. That is, let's say you have a problem where you have to traverse over the whole array, and at specific position for every specific position, you have to find what is the number, what is the last position of this number that is occurring before that. Okay, so you should hydrate yourself. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so that's it. Like, you can use binary search on loops, and let's say you have an element and you have to find something before that. So let's get into one simple contest. Okay, simple contest. So this is the weekly contest 411. uh, if you want a video on this, I think it will pop up over here, because I have uploaded a video on this whole contest. So you can click on this I button over here and check out the video. Okay, it's almost 40 minutes or somewhat 50 minutes kind of video. Okay, so that's it. So let's get into this questions. Okay, so the first question, that is, count substring that satisfy key constant A. So let's let it download, let it load. um, Okay, so it's over here. So it says that you're given a binary string s and an integer k. So let's directly, I won't explain you the whole question, okay, how to solve it. I'll get into the constants directly. So if you can see that the constant is, it is lesser than equal to 50, right? 1 to 50. So it is very much clear from here that you can use big O n squared. Well, you can use big O n cubed. Okay, even you can use big O n to the power 4. Why so? Because if you're using 50 into 50, it becomes 2500. Okay, and 2500 has is almost 2000. And if you're multiplying 2000 with 2000, it's 4, like it's well beyond 10 to the 7. But you won't need n to big O n4, because it's kind of too complex, and it may give some TLE. But big O n cubed is very much safe. But if you look into the solution that I've given, this is rated as an easy problem. So the solution that I've given, it's very simple. Okay, I'm sorry, I went to the next thing. Okay, so let us get into B. Okay, maximum energy. Like, this problem I have solved it. So this was a DP problem actually. Okay, this was a DP, and this is rated as a medium problem. As I told you, that B problems are usually medium, and sometimes it may be easy also. Okay, depends. It is 50-50. Okay, it may be easy or difficult. Now, if you look at the constant, is 10 to the power 5. As I told you, the most famous thing, the most famous constant, that is 10 to the power 5. Okay. Now, 10 to the 5 tells us that we can use big O n log n, or you can use big O n, whatever it is. Okay. Now, over here, you just need dp. Okay. Over here, you just need dp. So big O, that is also 1D dp. That is one dimensional dp. That is big O n. That is more than enough. So let's look into some other question. That is a C. So if you look at C, find the largest palindrome divisible by k. So after it loads, I will explain you this question a little bit. Now it is rated as hard. Okay, it is rated as hard. Now you may feel that this is a hard question, but I will rate it as medium. Okay, because you can see, like, it is basically, the question demands that you are given a digit n, and you have to find the largest n digit palindrome which is divisible by k. Okay, now since the range of k, if you look into it is like, I'll go to the range of k. It is C, it is lesser than equal to 9, right? It is lesser than equal to 9, and it ranges from 1 to 9. So I can use a normal brute force for every 1 to 9 and check its divisibility, right? But, and n is 10 to the power 5. N is 10 to the power 5. So basically, I'm going to traverse for big O n. That is, I can go for big O n, and for every k, I have to give an output based on that. Okay, so that is kind of greedy as well as big O n. So basically, this is some mental logicking and mathematics. So now let's get to the main question, as the last question, D, which is rated as hard, and it is a hard problem. I won't disagree. So this is a hard problem, and you have to notice one pattern. Okay, so whenever there is something like queries, okay, just look at this. Queries of I is equal to Li Ri. That is considering Li and Ri both positions. So whenever you are seeing that there is something like this kind of things are happening in the problem, so you can come up with a solution that it is segmentary. Okay, you can come up with a solution that this is segmentary, and you can see that length of queries is 10 to the 5. So you have to traverse these queries. So big O n is considered, and length of n is 10 to the 5 also. So you can't even go for big O q into n. So you can go for q, that is big O q complete, and then big O log n. Okay, you get it. So basically, it is had to be q log n, and in that case, segment tree is the best option. Okay, in that case, segment tree is the best option that you can come up with. So um, that is it. Like, I won't explain this question much. I think this is more than enough for the explanation part. Um, or should I like? Okay, so this is enough. This is enough. So let me like give you a little bit more data structures for this. So you can use DP as I told you. Like this problem itself demands a little bit of DP. Um, and for this hard problems, you can use like, let's say, DP, like, these segment tree DP, they're there, and you can use try. Okay, try is a very advanced data structure, which, like, if you understand try, it is not needed much. Then you can use graphs. Okay, GRAPHS. You can use graphs also, and you can use sets because you'll be needing union sets and something concepts like that. Then you can use trees. Okay, trees are easier than try. Try is a very advanced step. And when I'm talking about trees, it means that you can use segment trees as well as Fenwick trees. Okay, Fenwick trees, and there are AVL trees, various kind of trees. Okay, but whenever I'm talking about trees in hard problems, I'm talking about segment tree and Fenwick tree. I hope that is very much clear. Okay, so now let's say you are taking a question in hard. So as I was mentioning, the last question, the question that occurred in 441 or 414, whatever the contest it was, I don't remember. So in that question, you can see that it uses DP as well as binary search plus loops. So both these concepts are used. So we can say in a hard problem, you will be using binary search along with the concept of greedy algorithm, okay, along with the concept of loops, along with the concept of DP. Okay, so a question when it is a hard problem, it doesn't mean that it is hard because you are using some advanced algorithms or advanced data structures. It may also happen that whatever problem you're facing, that problem is demanding a combination of various data structures. Okay, a various data structures that is occurring in it. So you don't have to stress much that you need to understand all the data structures like very well by heart to understand this. So I hope you get a basic idea about this. Okay. So that is, you need binary search, greedy, loop, and DP for this problem. For some problems, you may be needing segment tree plus DP maybe, or something like this. So that's it. Okay, so that's it. So that's it from my side. So if you have liked this video, just give a thumbs up and just leave a comment because that makes me motivated. And one more important thing, that if you're solving one problem today, that doesn't mean you can't solve all the four problems after 6 months from now. It has happened to me also that I have solved one problem 2 years back, and now I can solve four problems. And that doesn't mean that if you're solving four problems today, you have to solve all four problems tomorrow. I mean, in the next contest also, it doesn't mean like that. So it may happen that you have solved four problems in this contest. The next contest you solve only two problems, which is very much natural because this has happened to me also. So if you have like noticed in that video, I solved four problems, right? I think I solved three problems out of four problems. That doesn't mean that I can solve four problems. Maybe you're given a kind of stipulated amount of time, so you can't think of a logic, or some days are bad. So you don't need to stress much on that. Okay. So in case if you want to get a tutorial or get a knowledge about what is the future of CP in 2024, or how you have to approach doing CP, that is competitive programming, or what is the difference between CP and DSA, or what is the difference between DSA and development, whether CP can land you a job or not, something like this, the questions like this, which may arise in your mind. So you can check the video over here. Okay, over here you can check the video, and you can subscribe my channel, which will be appearing over here, I think, over somewhere over here. So just subscribe my channel and just watch the video. I think that's it for me. That's it. Thank you.